Gotta beat 9.
And it looks like he's going to be able to lead against the rescue strategy with Mannadium. Again, Mannadium winning the die roll, horrific. You know, you never want to go second against that deck. It's really strong going first. I mean, you get to see a lead off of a hero lives, paying half of his life for a special summon, a hero monster from his deck. It can be none other than, I believe, Elemental Hero Plasma for this strategy. Or not, sorry, Plasma, Prisma.
Hey, that's a Destiny hero. That's okay, we'll send you back to Duel Academy, but he is going to bring that out. And it's so cool to see this classic monster being used again, not just in Time Wizard tournaments, but remember, it can copy the name of monsters that are listed on fusion cards, and that's, well, pretty easy with Vicious Astrolabe.
Yeah, it's one of those cards that it has a lot fewer options in the time that it was released, but it only gets better over time because the amount of options just keeps increasing, kind of like Cyberstein, right?
Oh, yeah. It's one of those cards. That's what makes this game so great, is that something could come out, and it may not, like, blow everybody out of the water at first, but eventually it does, and Prisma just gets to keep showing up time and time again.
So it looks like he's not done extending yet. He's going to, looks like he's normal summoning that Mannadium Reamheart.
Okay, and he's going to use the effect there. Going to go ahead and add a Mannadium card to his hand.
Interesting. He does get to add the Meek, and he controls Visa Starfrost, but he also controls a 1521. But
nice to have both options just in case. An effect failure being dropped right now would remove Prisma's effect, so he does have insurance there.
You think maybe he's just trying to line up maybe a protection effect before he goes into Lightheart?
Possibly.
Doesn't look like it. He's just going to go Synchro 6 immediately. Yep, this is going to summon back Meek here.
Anything here?
So this could be fine. He does have the level 4 tuner and the level 6 level 6 tuner and the level 4 tuner, so this can go into Baron. And then Baron could destroy the Meek to summon it out another copy as a level 4. He does have access to Vicious in the graveyard now.
Taking a quick look at that graveyard, and looks like he's going to banish Reamheart.
Yeah,
he's a Starfrost, yeah.
It looks like he's just going to go straight into another level 10 if he wants to, or maybe he's going to destroy the Meek. He's going to destroy the Meek, so now he has access to Baron and Despotter.
Taking a look at there, I guess it's going to go ahead and grab that attack as well. But now we're in the deck.
Yeah, this is like technically a very uncommon way to get to the same end field. You kind of skipped a lot of steps. We haven't seen a single field spell yet, which is very uncommon for this strategy.
Absolutely. I mean, starting off with a hero lives, I knew we were in for something weird.
Sync these two.
Yeah, this is a little safer line, summoning Baron as early as it did. So Crimson Dragon is able to copy the level of the Baron, be able to summon Despotter.
To send it back to extra deck and summon a Dragon Synchro at the same level.
All right, going fast makes us feel alive. It is time for Bestial Dissipator.
Now Despotter is going to be able to at least summon back that Visas, and then go straight into Lightheart, I imagine, after that, right?
Now, this is wild. This is this board that everyone has talked about where, hey, you've got a Warrior and a Dragon-type Synchro monster. Wouldn't it be crazy if we got to see Draco Knight, or Dragon Knight Draco Equest?
I think this might be one of the few times it actually might come up, because Tennis does main deck Super Polymerization along with Draco Quest in his extra deck.
That would be quite the thing to see. We've been seeing so many retro cards coming back, right? Exodia, YCS Indianapolis, Prisma in this duel. Man, Super Polymerization bringing an old 5D's favorite would be fun.
What do you think the Rykobi is going to go for now that you've already done this entire part of the combo?
Maybe like a Scareclaw Cashier, but it looks like he's actually going to bring out Rykphobia, or Rykard.
Yeah, Rykard just going to be able to be in follow-up at this point. Going to be able to special summon back out that Visa Starfrost with the Arrival that was already in his hand. And now maybe just going for an SP Little Knight. Oh, never mind. You do already have Lightheart on the field. I forgot about special. You know, I don't know how I forgot about the way you summon that card the most often.
It's just so wild. Think about it. These duelists have been going through 7 rounds. So Yu-Gi-Oh! Is this very complicated game, but we're blessed to be able to see some great duelists navigating securely through it. Does look like he's going to go ahead and send.
Yeah, he's going to be able to add another copy of Arrival to his hand. I wonder if it's even worth committing the additional body here, because do you really need to summon an additional level 10 Synchro, or was an SP Little Knight fine at this point?
I feel like the SP Little Knight offers the protection you need. You know, back in the old days before SP Little Knight arrived, you might do something like a Chaos Angel here. Maybe you want to put out like a Heist Jade Aegir Gimarine just for the additional protection. But I feel like SP Little Knight would get that done with the least restricted means, right? He's just going to send these 2 cards.
Well, it looks like he's going to, he's going to link off into Little Knight with these 2, and then Arrival, I believe, is not once per turn, so he can just use the other one.
Oh, it's Cross Sheep.
Yeah, so he gets a lot of extra summons here, and he did get the draw as well. We can't really, take away from the value of an additional card straight from the top of your deck because there were 3 monsters in defense position when Rykard activates its effect.
All right, so now we're going to send these 2.
For Chaos
There's the Chaos Angel we were just talking about.
Light and dark, so it does have both effects.
Right, so now these Synchro Monsters are indestructible.
Which is just a wild effect to have on top of Barone and Big Steel Dissipator's negate effects.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here, but there was not ever a point to search a copy of Mannadium Reframing, which I guess he doesn't maybe play at this moment. Like, he probably doesn't main deck it.
Well, he's doing just fine without it.
And there's the Calarium all the way at the end just to grab Reamheart for the follow-up.
That definitely feels like a play for next turn, not necessarily for this turn.
Yeah, I mean, if he does have an additional body to put on the field, he would be able to go into Little Knight, which I think would really be the icing on the cake here.
Now, I believe I just saw a Droll Lockbird in his hand. This might be a really rough duel for Dennis if he ends up doing that search, and neither of the negate effects are used because they're just going to use that Droll Lockbird to stop everything after.
Looks like we're going for another Vicious here.
Cross Sheep will go ahead and use its effect. We're going to special summon Mannadium Meek in defense mode.
As well as all the monsters gaining 700 attack.
That is just insane.
You do get both of the effects of Cross Sheep depending on what it's pointing to.
Looks like we're ready for the next leg up. You think this is the SP Little Knight finally?
He's thinking about it.
SP Little Knight.
All right, there it is. And now is he going to banish his own Astrolabe?
SP Little Knight on summon to target my Vicious Astrolabe.
Yep. It's a common play we've seen from Mannadium today.
Reamheart effect in hand to target Meek to destroy it.
This makes a lot of sense. He had to use every single one of these monsters here.
Just the full presentation, right? Students of Duel Academy, pay attention.
Oh, so this is where he could add a copy of Reframing, but I believe this is going to be a level 4 Meek. He's going to be able to synchro into the Visa Synchro monster. Amritara?
Yes, that would be Visa Samratata.
That would be my last action in the deck.
Just Synchro and Synchro services, and that Bestial Dissipator can go ahead and bring Vicious Astrolabe back into the extra deck to go and destroy a card when it activates its effect. So there's a lot of recycling going on. There's a lot of setup. So don't just focus on the fact that this is an impressive turn 1 board. There's a lot of plays being made for that turn 2 follow-up.
I like how he said he was done going back in the deck and just didn't realize he was just going to go back one more time for the Realm Eulogy here. Very interesting card. Gaining a lot of popularity since Indianapolis because of its more utility going second while still being functional going first, and then you just side into Reframing.
Makes sense. I mean, you definitely have to be prepared to go first or second, and the decks that have strong first boards or board breakers for turn 2, those are the ones that are starting to rise up.
I wonder if you, like, I mean, it likely will be enough to go for Superpolymerization here, being able to get rid of 2 of these monsters, just simply because Draco already has such a strong effect as well, but the Little Knight, there's so many monsters on the field that matter here. These are a lot of powerful bodies.
Well, he can only fuse a few, and that's only even if he drew Super Polymerization. We haven't seen his hand yet, but he is looking at a fusion monster. Oh, is this going to happen?
I think he might be considering Mud Dragon just in case he wants to prioritize hitting different bodies. No,
that looks like the E-Quest in his hand right now.
So this was used with light and dark, yes. I use Visas and right card when I make it.
So it'd be unaffected by monster effects with the Chaos Angel, but I think it's still affected by spell effects.
Yes.
Oh, and he's reading it too, just to confirm. 5Ds fans at home, get ready. We might be revving it up.
Still draw phase.
Yeah, still in draw phase. I mean, it's sounding more and more like it.
Every time Dennis says something, I'm just like, here it comes. Been waiting for this. It's been fabled. It's been foretold, and now it might actually happen.
Okay, we're starting with Wanted. That makes sense. You know,
That's
just getting
fair.
to start to your hand.
It also lets you kind of feel out your opponent what they think is the most important thing, and obviously there weren't any negates here.
Is it just a Synchro Dragon and a Warrior?
I believe it's a Synchro Dragon and a Warrior. It doesn't necessarily. Oh, you mean it could be SP Little Knight?
Yes.
Ooh, that would be interesting.
Wants to just get the Baron out of the way, and then
the materials are a Dragon Synchro monster and a Warrior monster. Yeah, it really could be SP Little Knight. What's helped SP Little Knight in other matches with that Warrior sort of synchronicity actually hurts SP Little Knight right in this match. We're going to see the Pot of Prosperity. Please don't banish the Draco Knight E-Quest, although if it's strategically the right move, go ahead, go ahead.
I wonder, like, if he expects there to be a Super Polymerization in Dennis's deck. If so, then you have to use your Baron on this.
Because if you don't know if he has the Super Polymerization, you want to make sure that you're getting it before the Super Poly comes up.
And I think at that point, though, if you're Dennis and you just assume that he's going to negate it in how to fear Super Polymerization, then you take out the Super Polymerization targets. Like, it's a little bit of a mind game on that one.
Absolutely. Very will they, won't they. All right, so he's got his 6 there.
And it looks like it's going to resolve.
Okay. Being very careful.
All right. He's going to do them all at once. We don't get the excitement out of that. There it is.
Ooh,
taking it instantly.
It. So I think he didn't have it in his hand, and so now he's
clearly he didn't have it in his hand. He was not activating Pot of Prosperity without using that first.
All right, we're in the open game state, and there's Super Polymerization drop now. Find out what he discards.
What? Oh, activate Super Polymerization, sorry. Yeah, activate Super Polymerization.
All right, the discard is...
Turbulence. Perfectly fine card to have in the graveyard. You're making Preventer a lot more functional. You're making, really just putting Rescue Ace cards in the graveyard, generally a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Guilty Gear Free?
I think it is Guilty Gear Free. Is he going to try to fuse the two warriors instead?
That literally might be better, because I don't think the dragon's doing very much.
Yeah, two warrior monsters with different attributes, and I'll tell you, wind and I think dark is what SP Little Knight is?
Yes.
Yes. That would be it. Oh, he's
thinking about it. Oh no, Draco Quest.
He Quest, we get to see it.
He did it just for you. He would have made Guilty Gear Free if he didn't hear you.
I don't think he can hear me from up there, but I appreciate it nonetheless.
All right. Can you read for the class what Draco Quest does? Because it has a very powerful effect.
All right, students of Duel Academy, follow along. Or sing along if you know the words. So, of course, we know the materials, and it must be Fusion Summon. Once per turn, you can target a Dragon Synchro monster in the graveyard, banish that target, and if you do, until the end phase, this card name becomes that monster's, and replace this effect with that monster's original effect. Also, while this card is in attack position, your opponent takes any effect damage you would have taken from their card effects instead.
Yeah, I feel like that part's not going to really come up, but maybe. But so this is really interesting. You get to copy Despotter. You're able to summon back one of those banished monsters. But how do you really functionally deal with the Little Knight right now?
It's tough. It's one of those things where, yes, we know the Draco Knight quest is exciting, but at the same time, it's not a one-stop shop. It's not going to fix everything. And maybe this might have been a little bit more supported with like a Dark Ruler No More and then going into these plays.
Or like, it looks like he's going to be using the Little Knight, going after the Dia Bellstar after the Dia Bellstar's effect on the field. So he's still going to be able to set that Sinful Spoils that we know is on the bottom of the deck from the Pot of Prosperity. And the Draco Quest will still remain on the field here. I wonder just how deep this will go. Because, I mean, that's already another great banished target to summon back off of Despotter being the Little Knight itself.
Absolutely. This has been a fascinating duel, too, because they've been taking very non-standard routes to get to similar boards that we've been seeing throughout the tournament. But we're also getting to see, like, heroes and fusions from 5Ds. I mean, it's a wild match to watch.
So we still have to get past the protection from Chaos Angel.
Absolutely.
The Armatara, not going to be doing too much right now, but then you can't forget about the Realm Eulogy set over there.
Thinking.
This cost, right?
I believe it targets for cost.
So they're still working through. Does target for cost there, but I don't know how relevant that'll be. Dennis with just a single set. But there's the Realm Eulogy.
All right, so you target one monster you control, and affect monster your opponent controls, destroy that monster you control, and if you do, negate that opponent's monster's effects until the end of this turn.
Ooh, that's rough. Draco Knight Quest not getting to do what it does best.
But if you control Visa Starfrost, you can destroy the targeted monster as well.
Ooh. And so Amritara would count as the name, right?
Mm-hmm. is no longer on the field, correct?
Oh, they're confirming if Visa would still be on the field, like if it destroys all at once, or if it's sequential.
That's interesting.
It is a comma then. So
on a new chain, any turn player triggers?
It's like Dennis doesn't seem to have anything.
Calarium targeting the Amritara for reborn.
Oh, because the monster was destroyed, you're able to summon it back.
That's pretty crazy, but this deck often is.
Yeah, I've never seen Calarium be used on your opponent's turn. That's really interesting. I guess this is like really showing the masterclass of this Mannadium strategy, going through in this order and getting like the absolute maximum output.
It shows you how comfortable each of the duelists are with their decks because it's like freestyle jazz. They're just playing as they go.
But Dennis has effectively dealt with every interruption that he can see. Now he's just able to try to go into his actual rescue strategy because he hasn't done any of that yet.
Yeah, we haven't seen the fire department at all, but we are seeing Rescue Ace Preventer going to have banished that turbulence that was discarded.
I knew the turbulence in the graveyard was going to be a good thing, and now the Preventer allows it to be a very free summon, especially after the Sinful Spoils here.
And now it's gone to the graveyard. You know what that means.
Yeah, Sinful Spoils Snake Eye will be able to summon out a level 1, likely going to be Rescue Ace Hydrant, and Preventer will trigger because it was sent to the graveyard and be able to summon back that turbulence.
It's always easier on the fire department when the Hydrant is right there. The Rescue Aces have basically gotten their full field set up in almost no time at all.
only one card added to the hand, and during the draw phase, so the drone lockbird was not able to be activated. Hydrant able to potentially go after Airlifter here, just to get access to maybe making your monsters a little bigger by searching Rescue Ace HQ at this point, because you don't really need access to any of the other ones. But also keep in mind, after Turbulence activates its effect, Hydrant's on the field, so you get to use one of those trap cards immediately.
So it looks like we got Alert, Rescue, Extinguish, and Contain, just the classics.
The standard 4 here, not getting access to Emergency just yet.
Do you need to read them or are you good?
No, I know they all do.
Everybody's different about this. How do you feel about Reinforce, the Rescue Ace trap card?
I think it's really solid at playing around those mass removal cards, but I think it's less necessary with the amount of output that Rescue Ace has currently from its extra deck. If you're able to put up some kind of negate, I don't think you really ever need to actually use Reinforce.
And to a degree, after Rescue Ace Turbulence has done what it's supposed to do you really need to protect it? It's kind of gotten its value, right?
Oh, it looks like we're going to use Extinguish on the Chaos Angel, so now a lot of freedom here.
You're at 4,000, right?
Yeah, he is at 4,000 from the effect. Oh my God,
That Hero Lives might have cost him the game. But that's what happens when you play it.
To be fair, I don't think life points was the differing factor here. I think resolving Turbulence is always a good sign that you're ahead.
Always a good sign. There's not a lot of cards that say like set 4 or the number 4 of any kind in Yu-Gi-Oh!
All right, well we finally see that Drone Lockbird resolve after Dennis has effectively put 10 cards on the field.
This is defense 21. Does it gain or something from that?
Only attack.
Attack.
Okay,
Only
so
attack.
Calarium only
With
gives
each
attack
tuner
for
in
every
graveyard.
tuner in the graveyard.
That's correct.
Okay, so defense is still 21.
Defense will be even, so not necessarily relevant here, but still counting to the graveyard just to make sure you know what the attack might be.
Still has to worry about that if he's not able to... Oh, another Turbulence from the hand. That's a lot more damage.
That is incredible. It's one thing when you have one fire truck show up, but when you have two, well, it's something else.
Yep, and that is enough. Alexander's going to concede after making one of the best Mannadium fields I've ever seen. Alexander has anything to say about it.
There's some great Yu-Gi-Oh! I would not complain if we got a game 3.
That looks like a fairly strong hand. Unfortunately, going to have to be normal summoning the Prisma this time. It's interesting. If you open the Riem Heart as well as the Prisma, you do always start with Prisma?
Ooh, I mean, that's obviously what Alexander has chosen for. I feel like if you go for the Riem Heart, you know, it's good, but it suffers through the same things. Obviously, Ash Blossom works on both of them. Effect Veiler works on both of them. So maybe it's just a personal preference choice.
Oh, now that I see the Calarium in his hand, I think it becomes a lot more obvious because you are able to grab that Meek and you're able to put it on the field because Visa's on the field, and then you're going to able to just use Riem Heart in hand. Like, it makes more sense because all the additional, every single level 4, like the Heart monsters, it lets you play on your own, but they all work with each other where none of them are actually restrictive normal summons. You're able to summon them all, as we saw in that original turn 1.
No, now that I see the play fully extended, I definitely am on the side of Elemental Hero Prisma, and not just because I'm a GX fan. It's true, he was able to go ahead and send that, and then all of a sudden make the Scareclaw Lightheart, and then now we've got our primitive planet Reichphobia. That's a really great one-card advantage. I mean, it's just doing so much.
This is the bread and butter. This is what you normally see the Mannadium deck start, just being able to put a monster on the field, go into Lightheart, get the Reichheart, get the Arrival, set up from there, and still have plenty of interruptions from there. You see the crossout as well. I wonder what the crossout is going for. I mean, you're not going to be able to cross out Super Polymerization, so I wonder what it is mainly for. Probably for Drone Lockbird, almost always for Drone Lockbird, but we haven't seen it yet, so he's taking a sigh of relief on that one.
It's good to see people playing Crossout Designator. It does a lot of weird different things, but it's also good for like a main deck matchup. You know, imagine you just run into another Mannadium player. You've already got the tools to stop them.
Looks like Arrival's going to be used on the Visas here. Maybe this is now the moment where he's able to use the Riem Heart in hand to go after that Meek. Or he's just going to Synchro 10 immediately.
Dennis was thinking about something but decided to just pass and let him go, and so we're seeing Baron. Haven't changed our plan that much.
Chainlink 1 Riem Heart, Chainlink 2 Meek, Chainlink 3 Calarium, target Meek.
That is a lot of it, a lot of effects there. Meek is going to be able to summon himself, or not, sorry. Calarium is going to summon Meek from graveyard. Meek is going to summon another copy of Meek from the deck, either level 2 or level 4, and Riem Heart is going to be able to add a Mannadium card.
Just a masterclass in what Prisma does, because again, remember that Riem Heart got to stay in the hand and then use its effect. So this is crazy. Going back into the deck here.
And there's the reframing. When you already have every other Mannadium card, what else can you get, right? So now it looks like he's using the level 8, or sorry, the level 4 Riem Heart and the level 4 Meek. Going to go into Axel Stardust.
We've seen an Axel Stardust this whole weekend.
He's just going to be able to summon right back that Meek.
Yeah, this one. This is the 2. Yes, this is the 4. Well, this was the 4.
Okay, so yeah, like both Meeks are level 2 now because they're both from the graveyard.
All right, synchro summon.
It's just going to go straight. I mean, he's thinking about it. Is he going to make it? Yeah, he's making it again. Here's the Despotter.
He has no fear for that at all. And it's one of those things, too, you're not searching super polymerization in a rescue ace deck, so he either draws it or he doesn't, and now he can be a little bit more mindful about things like Pot of Prosperity.
Yeah, you're absolutely going to not let Pot of Prosperity resolve anymore.
All of a sudden, those 6 cards, that's 6 chances at your field going away.
All right, here's making our first Vicious Astrolabe.
I'll summon Vicious. Then I will...
I believe... No, there's still 1 Meek in the deck, I'm pretty sure. If he
Yeah, I
wants
think
to
we've
destroy.
only used 2 Meeks so far.
Now he can either synchro again or maybe go into Cross Sheep now.
Thinking awfully pensively, going to check the graveyard one last time before we make this play.
Still has access to Despotter's effect to summon back from the Banished, I believe.
Quick look at the extra deck. Singling out that Vicious Astrolabe. We might see it again.
Oh, he's absolutely going to summon another one within the turn, as we saw. I imagine this combo is not going to be too different as far as to what it ends compared to turn 1, or game 1, rather. Oh, Chen Ying, that's already very new.
Oh, that is different. Okay. Sword Souls. And
Oh, yeah, he's going to link away the Despotter.
So he does have the sort of super polymerization phobia. He's seen it once, and he doesn't need to see it again.
Okay, I think... Oh, well, I mean, the little we talked about random level 10 synchro and 2 warriors.
Did you cut my deck after I went through last?
Well, it's a good thing Sword Souls are worm-type monsters, but I do see 2 warriors on the field, so we may be lucky enough to see 2 super polymerization board blow-ups in the same featured match.
All right, Dennis is going to be able to start his turn. There is a reframing set as well as an additional set that we can see from Alexander's side. Let's see how Dennis leads.
Nothing I draw.
I mean, it's always possible that he just has no out to the field, because that is a very powerful synchro field.
Yes.
Still thinking in draw phase. Almost activated something. Now, we haven't seen his hand yet, but what do we got?
Yeah, he's done a real... Oh, there's super polymerization.
Oh, it's here.
And Alexander's like, are you sure? What do you mean?
That's a water, right?
Yes.
Oh, water this time.
It's a water worm, so I wonder what he's... it's a water, a dark, and a wind. What can he make with the water worm anywhere?
That's interesting because the types are kind of all across the board.
All right, we're going to discard that Nibiru because, I mean, I imagine that was drawn for turn.
And it's not going to help you now. But he did send the 2 warriors, so I think it's time for Guilty Gearfried.
Actually, the Nibiru probably not necessarily drawn for turn, just because if you already open super polymerization, then that's probably just good enough to let the board happen.
To a degree, you're not worried about tripping your opponent's monsters and giving them a token.
Yeah,
If
you'd
you could
rather...
just get rid of them.
You're not going to... If you're going to discard a card anyway, you might as well discard the Nibiru that's just going to get negated most of the time.
Absolutely. Baron de Fleur is almost like they're just to negate Nibiru. It does make so many combo lines safer.
All right. Let's go to class again. What does Guilty Gearfried do on the field?
Sure, it's not a much you see every day. But it is sort of retrained of an old school card again. Once per turn, when a card or effect is activated that targets this card, you can negate that effect, and if you do, destroy 1 card on the field. If this fusion summon card, or excuse me, if this card was fusion summoned using only monsters on the field as material, which we know it was, can make a second attack during each battle phase. And finally, once per turn, if this card battles an opponent's monster during damage calculation, you can banish a spell from your graveyard and it gains attack equal to half its current defense until the end of the turn. So just a wild series of effects that could just kind of Swiss Army knife. But also, I mean, it's 2 warriors. It's perfect for super polymerization, especially in this format.
That's so interesting. I mean, we're going to force another Pot of Prosperity here, so likely not going for that game shot. The Chen Ying is still there, still pretty powerful. Unfortunately, not going to be able to, or not going to trigger any of the Guilty Gearfried's effects because it doesn't target, right?
Correct, and it's weird too because like this is technically the super polymerization having access to Guilty Gearfried can even work at like Makonko technically. They do have some warriors there too. It's Infernoble, so what a heads up inclusion in the extra deck.
It looks like Dennis is going to go after that Wanted here, being able to start all of his plays if he needs to.
Yeah, he's taking a look here. Looks like a bunch of different choices, but we are...
Interesting. He's going to try to go for Droplet.
What's the defense?
Defense right now is
And it
32.
That, right?
No, it only gains from the amount of cards in banish. So 6 banish on your end, 2 banish on you, 38 right now.
Oh, okay.
So it has 38 defense. Droplet will only have
And
the
you're
attack.
losing 8.
So, but it will cut off its effect, so it'll freeze its defense where it is.
Absolutely, but more importantly, too, it could protect itself by banishing a card from the graveyard, and this will keep either of those effects from happening. Master Duelists are definitely remembering some bad duels against that particular Sword Soul monster because it was very popular online. All right, so wanted to deal Bellstar.
Already had wanted as well. Opting not to do it in the draw phase, just in case here. So we know there's not going to be a drone logboard from Alexander now. Oh, so we know from seeing the hands that the second set is going to be that cross-out designator, which wasn't used on Project Prosperity or anything of the like. I don't think there's anything else he can even hit anymore. So it's likely going to be a dead back row, but we do have the reframing. But I wonder if you're Dennis, if you're afraid of it being something along the lines of infinite permanence. So what else do you think it is? Maybe you even think it is still that Realm Eulogy that was still kept in the deck for some reason?
It could be, it could be. We're not really sure what their choices were for side decking, but both duelists are just kind of making bold plays. They're just going in. Not in a reckless way necessarily, but just showcasing some interesting stuff. But we are going to cross out Designator.
All right, so let's see what he calls.
Interesting that it wasn't called in reaction to anything. We're just saying no to something.
Oh, because he knew the droplet was in the hand as well, so he just wants to call it now. Interesting that doesn't force out Dennis to just chain it.
Any response? I'll go for the set card, and
this will actually, because the card was banished, is going to trigger the Chen Ying.
What a great way to do that too.
Yep, just going to deal with the wanted as well as the Sinful Spoils Snake Eye.
Couldn't quite make out what the set was. Looked like a spell card.
It was Snake Eye from the DBL Star.
Okay,
yeah,
that's right. That's right. So the main event might be freezing play. We still got 14.5 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, you're going to use Gearfried's effect to boost its stats by half of its defense.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, the card attack.
Sorry.
Even the judge has to take a look at this one. You don't see it every day.
Yep, just activating effect. I believe what they're discussing is that it doesn't target the card in your graveyard that you banished. So since he's activating now, Alexander could potentially use the reframing to stop it.
Still thinking about it.
Oh no, it looks like there's something else wrong there. But we do get to see a normal summon of Hydrant, which is very, very strong here. I wonder when Alexander is going to use this reframing. Because all it requires is you to have a Synchro monster, right?
Exactly, and he's got a Synchro, but he's probably going to hold out for the Turbulence, but I feel like you could do it now, right? You could stop your Hydrant from grabbing anything.
You know a lot of the contents from Dennis's hand at this point. You know there's a Forbidden Droplet. You know I'm now going to be this Preventer, which is scary, because if there's a Preventer like off this, then where did the Hydrant, or like, why isn't there a Turbulence coming from something at this point? I guess maybe you just can't get access to a second Rescue Ace monster, so this is what you have to do. Or not Rescue Ace monster in general, but like any Rescue Ace card, because it's not like we started with a Turbulence or anything, or sorry, not Turbulence, an Emergency or Aerial Stir, so there's not anything besides the Hydrant that we can see so far.
It's kind of interesting. Very heads up, by the way. Not to think that we were going to see Relinquished Anima, but it's nice to see that Sword Soul's over on the side. All right, but we are going to Link Summon.
Yeah, going to go into likely a Link Karibo here. Just try to find your way into a Little Knight to banish the Chen Ying, but you still have to deal with the reframing, so you have to find a way to out that first. There's just too many cards banished at this point. Oh, he's going to go into Dark.
Ooh, interesting.
He could Dark into his opponent's Little Knight?
He could.
Or
the
Dispotter.
Ace Painter, okay.
There are a lot of powerful Dark monsters in that graveyard.
And they were probably Synchro summoned, so they can't be special summoned from the graveyard.
Yeah, this.
So yeah, maybe going into Dispotter, is that potentially... okay, okay.
He can only be summoned by his own effects.
So we're not going to see Vicious Astrolabe because that is not a legal target.
Looks like we are going for that Dispotter now.
I feel like the Vistiel has been doing more for Dennis than it has been for Alexander.
I mean, I don't know. This Chen Ying's doing a lot of work right now. I don't think the Dispotter is enough just yet. The stats alone on this Chen Ying is really just holding it down. It's just too big to really clear, even with as many monsters as Dennis has.
It's Still trying to find his way around here. Taking a quick look at the Riem Heart.
I wonder if he's forced to go into an access code talker just to try to work his way through.
You might. It's a game ender for a lot of different styles of dueling, but I don't know that it'd be enough here.
Sure.
I mean, it's not even to try to go for a game, because obviously he's already under Pot of Prosperity, but just to be strong enough to attack over the Chen Ying.
You might have to.
All right, interesting. He's putting the Visa Starfrost back in rotation here. That's a very spooky thing to do.
Visa Starfrost certainly gets around to a lot of different universes. Now he's crossed from Alexander to Dennis's field.
All right, it looks like we're linking away the Dark and maybe the Visas here. Try to go into Little Knight, which is going to be almost certainly going to be negated by framing. I can't imagine not.
All right, now's the time. Taking a quick look at the effect here.
Thank you.
There's the reframing.
Destroys it.
Negates the activation and destroys it, yes, because you just put Visas in my graveyard.
Very interesting. Again, potentially a misstep putting that Visas back in the grave for multiple reasons, because now Astrolabe is also available.
I think neither player was prepared for the options that the other chose. And yes, Dennis sending that Visa Starfrost to the graveyard as material might have backfired there.
And then the final summon here, there's the Tifon to be able to put back that Chen Ying. A really strong card against Mannadium. All their monsters are so big.
Activation was negated.
Yeah, so just being able to confirm if he can attack directly now, because that effect was negated.
So if that effect was negated, it does not apply.
Okay, so I get attacked.
It looks like the judges have confirmed he can go ahead and attack, but he will be doing that half damage.
So it's 56 normal, so 28. Putting me at 52.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Does make you great at math when it comes to the numbers 8,000.
I think that he used it.
You know, I think the Calarium is really going to work against
Oh yeah, there.
Alexander here.
put
So
it in
now
your
the
back.
Vicious Astrolabe not going to be able to use its effect. It's going to be a little too big when it comes to the field
Anything else?
with all those meeks in there.
I
Absolutely.
took 28 total.
All right, setting the card face down. Doesn't look like he had a hand of cards at all, so that's, if it's super polymerization, it isn't doing anything.
Anything in standby.
Taking a quick
Oh,
look.
it is likely that Forbidden Droplet that we knew about from the cross out. Oh, it looks like it's Visa Samsara as well as Visa Starfrost in his hand.
Yes. It
Visas
was
everywhere.
half because he Pot of Prosperity.
I mean, that's literally the plot.
56 originally, but half of that's 28.
It's really cool to see Superstar Slayer, Typhon, Sky Crisis in play here. It's a really interesting card. Obviously, it's something you end your turn on. You don't necessarily start because of its restrictive ability. But it really does a lot once it's out on the field. It kind of prevents some of the major threats in this game, including Rescue Ace Turbulence.
All right, he found a way to another field spell, so he's able to turn off potentially the Typhon from stopping his monsters here.
That's
We're going to go ahead and grab a Scareclaw or Visa Starfrost from the deck.
I wonder how many Scareclaws he has left.
We're doing 2 pans through the deck, so it may not be that many left.
It looks like 0, yeah.
I guess I'll go activate card. I just don't have a search target.
Yes, it's going to be illegal activation.
Okay.
It's just, have you illegally activated the deck?
No, that was the first time.
So it looks like he doesn't actually have a target, so it was a legal activation
Yeah, I
search.
just don't have a legal.
Yeah.
So the activation's fine. It does stay on the field, but he might get a little warning there, which is okay. Duel can continue.
Just got to be a little bit more careful next time.
I was trying to.
It certainly has been a long day. Again, the YCS is a marathon, not a sprint.
I mean, this has been a long duel. There's been so much going on, so much back and forth. Alexander's made 2 very powerful fields, and Dennis has done his best to crack back here. And there's the last card in hand, going to be using the Visas to destroy the Lightheart. Lightheart hasn't used its effect yet. He's going to use it right now to be able to reborn itself while Visas is on the field. These can make another Little Knight here.
And it will be little enough to get through that Typhon.
Oh, but it looks like it's just a dark. There is not
Okay.
room for more than 1 Little Knight in that extra deck. But he can potentially go for his opponents.
My dark effect target SP Little Knight.
Yep.
He is doing exactly that.
Imagine if Dennis hadn't put back the Visas in the graveyard and then still had a Little Knight on the field.
It would have changed things quite a bit, but that does happen sometimes.
I wonder if this is something he can allow to happen. But I mean, he knows that the Astrolabe is still in the graveyard. Oh, it is a super polymerization.
Now that's interesting. Is that going to be 2 dark monsters on the field?
Yeah, so it's a Dark Fiend as well as a Dark Spellcaster. Just go into Mud Dragon here.
Easy peasy.
So, okay, did it discard the droplet in his hand? I mean, all that's left now is to go for another Astrolabe, right?
I believe so.
Astrolabe in a Dream. I mean, it's not going to be putting in that much work. I think the grind isn't really there anymore. Alexander's really exhausted all the resources that he has left. What does Samsara do in the grave? I know it is able to summon itself, but...
Let's take a look at our handy-dandy notebook. So, Samsara's graveyard effect. Target any number of your Visa Starfrost monsters that are banished in your graveyard on your field. Shuffle those into the deck. Oh, no, that's not the graveyard effect. Excuse me, Duel Academy students.
Same for 300. Yeah, but he gains.
It looks like focusing here on the duel.
Gains 16.
We're going to go ahead and gain 16 with the guilty
So I
gear
take
free.
13. He doesn't die by battle.
So another 1,300, but luckily Vicious Astrolabe's going to stay on the field.
By battle.
Been through a lot of battles, so he is not impressed when somebody comes to attack him. But you still take the damage.
That's really all you need. Because now he has enough bodies to be able to potentially go into another copy of Little Knight.
What are you at?
I am at 39.
So it looks like 3,900 life points left on Alexander's side.
Oh, actually, I'll take 100 less. Your guy's 100 less. So I should be at 4K.
Okay.
You're at 100 less because of this in defense.
This thing went to 43.
Yeah, but it was losing 100 because of this.
So it's 12.
Yeah.
So 12. Okay, yeah.
Just a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh math. Tell you, we are all great at subtracting from the number 8,000.
So only has to do half life points again at this point. Guilty Gear Freed's still there. I wonder, I mean, clearly it's not as simple as drawing Airlifter right now. Looks like it's going to be a set. I'm just going to do it one more time.
He only gains that temporarily, or is it permanent? The gain.
Clarifying the card effect here.
Okay, so it gains another...
It's at 42, so you take 12.
Yep, we're just going to do the same amount of damage as we did last time. Again, still can't be destroyed by battle.
Whittling him down, but you still take the damage, right? All right, drew an enemy controller, though. That could be interesting.
I mean...
Stand by main.
If you play your own copy of... No, I mean, Typhon doesn't do anything anymore because he didn't summon from the extract twice last turn. So it's just going to be a set. Try to keep yourself alive.
He is. Mud Dragon certainly lets, with it off the field, now we can target with that enemy controller. So great play there, but you're right that there's not much else going on.
This is giving Dennis a lot of time to find his way to an Airlifter.
Clock's ticking. The fire department's going to be here before you know it.
Even another Sinful Spot, like another Diabellstar would be fine.
It'd be a great way to combo your way in.
Well, no, it would have to be wanted. Or yeah, it would have to be wanted because the original Sinful Spoils is already in the banished from the earlier Chenying.
Like attack declaration, I guess.
So on attack declaration, looks like we're activating Forbidden Lance to go ahead and negate the effect of the Vicious Astrolabe, allowing it to be destroyed by battle and halving its attack.
This is going to be such a crazy punish for the enemy controller in the battle step.
Skip a step there.
Drawing the Super Polymerization and the Forbidden Droplet back to back to back here.
Showing the cards that can't be responded to. They might be pretty good.
But unfortunately, not the starters that he needs right now.
That's the thing. We haven't really seen a lot of Rescue Ace in this particular game. At least not for now.
So
We've seen A Hydrant.
And then you're at...
43.
Or actually, in this game, did he even get to Hydrant? Is there a Preventer in his hand still? No way, right? Like,
28. Yes.
was that the last game? No, because he summoned a million turbulences that time. But
Exactly. But we're still making our way through, and that is the handshake. Okay. So,
can that card not be targeted? Or is it just like going straight into the damage step at that point?
well, either or, it looks like the match slip is out, so Alexander feels like he's had enough. Now, here's the good news, though, for Alexander.